All right, guys, let's get into that next team. This is going to be the review of the water team combined with a little quick review on their um, dual summoners. Now, those are kind of hard to cover in depth at this time because we haven't had a chance to use these cards yet. But we'll go over all the cards on the team first, and then we'll go into some of the combos that I can see immediately. And this is fresh to me because I haven't even really looked at all of these cards yet. Okay, so we're here, we're on the page. We're going to start here with just the Rebellion Water cards. So we're going to start off in order. We'll go through all of them kind of in depth, and then we'll kind of bring in the other cards that are access to them in Modern and talk about some of the stuff that they can do. So this is an interesting card, Chaos Bear Guard. He's a 4-cost card with a shield. He is very low, stat wise here at level 1. And if you get him up to level 10, he gets a lot more HP and then becomes a very interesting card. Definitely, I can see him as kind of a little league, low mana tank with shield, meant to be used in the beginning in games that does not have much magic damage that are going to be coming his way. He can be definitely an interesting card here once his HP gets a little bit higher to be comboed with Murdering Guardian, who's got the repair and the heal. On a shielded monster, he could be tough to get through. He does not do damage, though, so you're going to have to get your damage from somewhere else. Definitely an interesting card, though. A healable tank with shield and lots of armor on a team that it does have a repair, healing, all-star healer is definitely interesting. Now let's take a look at their 0 attack card. So this is their 0 attack card. All of the teams are getting at least one, if not multiple, 0 attack cards. And this is to be used with the new version of weapons training where they will get the full damage up to 3 and it will not go away. They will keep it for the entire battle. So you can see here down in the lower levels, it's just a nice 2-cost, 3-speed, 6 HP magic reflecting monster. And then we'll see what kind of damage you can add into this card. When you get into the silver range, it gains a slow, so it's a nice solid utility monster with an additional HP. And then up here, it gains a stun. Now this is an interesting one, because this is one of the main thing that you're going to see here that you might not be used to seeing and is completely different when it comes to this. And sorry, my camera's being a little weird. I don't know why it keeps doing that behind me. But they're picking up third abilities that are offensive. So she picks up a stun. Now we're going to go from her straight to the weapons training cards, because without understanding the weapons training cards, you're not really going to be able to understand what a card like this can do. And here's our weapons trainer from the new set. So we're going to straight here to the legendary Dark Dead Blast. Now when we look at his stats early on, he's going to give her 2 magic damage, and then at max level he'll give her 3 magic damage. Now his own abilities are very interesting. He's a very slow mage, but he has a swiftness right away. That can be very usable to speed up some of your other cards where speed actually matters. He picks up a triage. That's a great ability. There is still very, very few ways to do back row afflictions. They do exist in scattershot monsters, but nonetheless, triage is one of the more powerful abilities within the game to protect you from self-killing yourself or just preventing anyone in your back from actually dying. He picks up a dodge. He only has 1 speed and he has a dodge. So that's, good. No, I'm joking. No, it's funny. I used to not like dodge on slow monsters, but you know how annoying it's going to be when other people are trying to hit this guy and they miss because he has a 25% dodge chance, and that's going to proc every once in a while. He's not super, he's a little squishy with only 8 health, especially a 7 mana, but overall it's a good card, and I like the idea now of this card having at least two magic damage, and later on possibly 3 magic damage. So that's pretty fun. Okay, the archers continue to come, and they come heavy for the water team. They already have some of the best archers in the game, and now we're going to look at a new friend coming to the board. This is a sniper. Now, I have to admit, they don't have as many snipers on the team, It's a sniper with dodge, nice 25% miss. That's not a terrible ability to have. So a back row archer that can maybe dodge some sneak or opportunity attacks. He also picks up the ability to dodge for phase. This one's interesting. As a back row monster who can't natively attack from the front position, I'm not so keen on the phase, but a phase with a dodge is good because they will work together for him to have a good chance to dodge some magic. He does get up to a 5 speed here, and then that's where he caps out. That's at level 7 for a common. That would still be a gold card. And then at the very, very high levels, he picks up additional HPs. So he doesn't get faster, he doesn't get much damage, he just becomes more survivable. That's kind of interesting because if you don't expect him to be like tanking for you in the last position, or maybe being a sniper target who has dodge and phase, he's very competitive here as far as his ability to do stuff. Maybe he dies a little bit quicker. So it's an interesting card. 4 cost though, and he can end up with 9 HP in the back. That's pretty high. All right, and then we get a 5 cost mage. This is your ambush mage. Now, he doesn't have any other abilities, so this is like a pot shot on the front row tank with only 2 damage. Not as impactful in the beginning here in bronze and silver, but in maxed out silver, he gains a stun. Now, that can be huge. So his first attack, theoretically, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to stun their tank if you get 2 chances on a 50% proc. Now, obviously, you could be unlucky and not hit your stuns, but when you get to stun a monster on the other team right away, that is pretty impactful. The one thing is a little bit on the slow side. Very survivable with 5 HP in an ambush mode. I don't see him getting killed very often. He'll get that attack off. The one worry would be against a faster lineup, he could miss. So that's just something to note on this card. That gets negated a little bit here at the highest level when you get him to 4 speed. That you might feel a little bit better with him. Obviously, if you're running an ambush sneaky opportunity team, maybe Kelly is on the board pushing him to 5 or pushing the 3 to 4. But overall, I do think an ambush stun could be in itself a win condition at times. And so don't overlook the Salty Barmaid. We've seen the Soothsayer before. This is one of the cards that came out kind of early. Overall, this is just a blue tank, a 6 cost tank heal with Lookout, with Dispel, with Dodge. There's lots of dodge here. And a Cleanse. Now, a cleansing healer is always great. One with Lookout with the new ambush phase apparently being really, really strong. Is definitely something I would say that is good. Also, Lookouts who are mages who can be placed anywhere. Really, really good. So I'm trying not to yawn anymore, guys, but I'm trying to do these all on Sunday night so I can get them out into the evening and tomorrow. So here we go. So the Soothsayer is an excellent card. Not impactful maybe for damage and win, but for one of those survivability games. One of those like you can't kill my team Bakjera lineups. Very, very interesting. The Pirate of 8. That's interesting. That's an interesting name. Pirate of 8. So we got a reach monster with a blast. That's always interesting. You got a 4 cost. And in bronze, you're really going to want to be looking at this at 2 attack, blasting 1. And then you can actually get this to be 4 attack, blasting 3. That is very interesting. This is going to be definitely a card that is featured in Little League. Reminds me a little bit of the old Electric Eels. So I like that card a lot. It is only 4 costs. It doesn't have a lot of HP, so you do have to be careful for that. But definitely a card that will get some play in some of the modes. We got the Sea Dog of 8. Oh, I see. So that was the Pirate of 8. This is the Sea Dog of 8. So let's see here. At bronze, he's got your Corrosive Ward. So when he hits, when hit with a melee attack, unit does 2 armor damage to the attacker, and the max armor of the attacker is reduced by 2. So that's definitely an interesting play up in the front row as a tanking card. He's got good survivability in here at level 3, which is the 9 HP and the 1 armor, especially because you can have that heal repair behind him. Also, once you get him into gold, he picks up a self-heal. So that's pretty cool. Self-healing tank. His HP gets a nice boost up here. And then at the end, he just gets overall just a more competitive, well-rounded card with decent speed, decent attack, and self-heal. So self-healing tanks are always good. Self-healing tanks right here, that's a double heal with a cleanse to protect him. It's a nice setup with these 2 cards. All right, we got a 3-cost mage. Max level, it's a Scattershot Bloodlusting Mage. Very interesting. A Bloodlust card even here at level 4, but that wouldn't be until silver for the rare, top level silver. And down in bronze, he's just a Scattershotting Mage. Probably not as impactful. But he only costs 3. He's a mage. He has a Scattershot. If you want to roll the dice that he somehow... I don't like Scattershot with 1 magic. Unless you're playing like sneak and snipe monsters with him, and you're hoping he's going to just randomly help one of those guys finish somebody off. It's just if you're going to like pot shot somebody in the back row, you want a chance to kill them, because the next round you're probably not going to shoot the same person again. All right, we got a nice 5-cost mage here. Like the artwork on this one a lot. We have another Corrosive Ward, so there's 2 Corrosive Wards on this team. This is a very interesting card for equal opportunity because at 10 armor, and give it 10 health in that mode, that would be a very survivable card. Let's go ahead and look at it at some of its different levels. So right away at level 2, it picks up Void Armor, so that's really, really important. Oh, it has Void Armor the whole time, duh. So the really real thing that you're worrying about here is magic. It's got magic damage and it has True Strike. I guess with phase being in the game now, that's kind of important for a slower mage. Eventually, it's a 3 damage with a lot of armor, with a lot of Corrosive Ward, with a True Strike, so it can't miss its magic attacks. Not a bad card. Poison is the one problem for this card. Waka's getting some love. No. All right, let's look at the captain here. Captain Fellblade. So this card down here in the lower levels for epics is, a solid magic 1/5. So 2 different attacks, 5 speed. I like the 2 different attacks. It gets a strengthen. That's the only other ability it gets, and this is on a sneak monster. So a sneaking magic monster, those are pretty rare. Follow up the magic attack with a melee attack, and then eventually here in the higher tiers, it's 2 and 2, and then 2 and 3. It's expensive for only 5 damage, but 5 sneak damage broken across 2 attacks. I like that a lot because Force Field has become so meta. And so these cards with double attacks are going to be very interesting. It's similar damage to Quora in the beginning, but without the chance to get the Bloodlust, but cheaper cost than Quora, obviously. All right, then we have the Enduring Brute. This is just another big mage. Amplify, interesting to see. It kind of combos maybe with Wave Brood in like a higher mana game. It's got Headwind, Silence, Swiftness for your team. This card is awesome. It's just a utility monster with high mana. You don't see that a lot. A lot of the utility-ish monsters are low mana cards. Makes it very annoying because you can't bring those good status effects with you to high-level matches. And this would allow you to do that. So overall, I'm just going to say that this card will end up getting a lot of play. It'll get thrown on the board so that Amplify is there if you have some kind of return. It silences and it does headwinds, so it lowers 2 forms of damage, and it speeds up your team while already being pretty decent speed. Now, his attack is pathetic for 9 cost, that 2. But I think his status effects, you're not bringing him to the match for his attack. You're bringing him to be in that last position, be a really meaty tank and then just have a crazy damage bounce back. And with Thorns, Magic Reflect, and Archery Reflect being game modes, high level amplifies matter. The only thing I will say is that when you add Chaos Legion in here, they already kind of had that. I guess you can double it up, double or nothing, but you got Amplify here on C-Rec, and you also have Amplify on where is she? Sea Stalker. So that's an interesting card. So now we've added in the Chaos Legion, so we can take a look at this full effect of this team. It's very interesting. I will say Water was already one of the stronger teams. Obviously, having Medelia Guardian, look at that stuff, is pretty wild. And we didn't look at the summoners yet. So actually, let's look at the full summoners yet. Now, they got Water Death. I think a lot of us are excited for Water Death, but that's just because the Death fans are out there. They got Life Water. So we will look at some Life Water combos. And then their tactic summoner is Shield or 2 Archery. This is interesting. I like this one a little bit better than the Fire one of the Dispel or -2 Magic. I always like it when you can build your team with the plan of what you're going to do. Picture that 1 life HP shielded monster with the magic with the void armor in the back, that magic attacker. If you played that card and then you saw a sneak lineup coming or an opportunity lineup coming that hopefully didn't have poison, you could then give that card shield, and so it's going to take even longer to get through. Also, you can look at any of the different tanks in this team and picture them now with a shield. Or you can picture any one of the archers and picture them doing more damage. This does also give you the idea that perhaps you're going to want to build some lineups with archers that attack different areas, which I don't always suggest doing, but in this case, it might just work. At the same time, you might just load up a lot of archers and just make them hit very, very hard. So it's very, very interesting. Possibilis, I think he will shine a little bit more in the new mode. Obviously, as we go back to looking at the different units, bringing them into the board and hide those summoners, you do have to remember that with Possibilis in the situation, this guy could be a reach card. That would be an interesting card. You could have this guy in the reach position. This is a reach monster, so you don't have to worry about that. You could put her in the reach position. I don't know what that would end up doing, to tell you the truth. It's an interesting one. With their new cards, their only weapon trainer we went over in the beginning was Darg, but he's obviously now with the ability to give Bakshira a weapons attack, combined with the fact that they have Kulu Mastermind here, giving them the ability to have a nice big melee attack. Now, this one is going to be harder to do because since this is melee and magic, you can't necessarily give cards melee and magic. You could do that for Noah, but he would only do his magic attack unless you were in a mode where they would be attacking from both positions. They're obviously, their little card here could be, I mean, you could set it up to be like a late turn tank, but you don't have any, other zero cost cards with no attack that have like anything. It is kind of funny that Deep Lurker here with the poison attack on Deep Lurker is one of the counters to the mage. Where is she? Right here, Tatana. So, obviously one of the best counters to her, because you're going to hunt her out with her 1 HP and you're going to try to poison her, is Deep Lurker, and Deep Lurker is on this team. So that's kind of an interesting thing, just because that means whenever she can be played, Deep Lurker can be played to counter her. Wow, look at all those O'Shaughnesses. I do like the Sea Dog, though. I like that a lot. You have a cleanse here. You have the new cleanse healer. You have the Enduring Guardian, and then you have this archer lineup. With the Murd Hampier, with the Kulu. Now you can picture him having 6 damage, him having 5 damage. Man, Mert Hampier with 5 damage can't miss, and he's gaining all that HP. You have the Angelic Mandarin, and then you toss in the new kids. It's going to be an interesting team, that's for sure. Okay, let's take a quick look. Their dual ones are, we'll look at life first, and then we'll look at death. So let's go ahead and bring in the life team. So when you bring in the life team here at the bottom, and we're looking at all the different cards that they have to add to this, the big thing you can see here, they can get another healer, so they can get kind of ridiculous with healing. Is Truth Speaker untamed? Yeah, she is. So she's going away. You get access to these additional legendary cards like Inevitable. Izar is a pretty meta card. You can play that with a Jared Descar to get into an interesting one. Let's see. You have a Magic Archer here. You have a Lookout card here that you can bring into the team. You do have obviously Bosun, and the like the Imperial Knight is a pretty good card. The Drybone Barbarian is a pretty good card. So now you can throw some of those cards in front of those things. In a mage lineup, you pick up cards like Time Mage that can come on your team. You pick up Adela Brightway, so you actually pick up the ability to give yourself a Resurrect from this team. Izar is just meta, without a doubt. So that card being added into the lineup is very interesting. I'd say that's the biggest impactful things I could see is they can pick up things like now they can throw the Pelacor Conjurer up in the front, and they could throw an Izar in the back, and then next to Izar they could put Kulu Swim Hunter if they have him, and then you're buffing up the Kulu Swim Hunter, so that gets kind of wild. Our picture O'Shaughnessy's getting martyred 2 to 3 times. That's going to be pretty interesting. There's definitely going to be, there's just going to be a lot of different combinations. Let's go ahead and try Death. Now, the Water Death team, obviously Death doesn't have any healers. So when you get 2 healers now brought to the team, by doing this combo play of Water Death, you can see that you can pull yourself in with the Madarian Guardian, who's got her heal and repair. Or you could get the new healer right here, the Sooth, that has the cleanse and repair. So, that's kind of an interesting play. You can now see you can have things like Curse Wendigo with a cleanse for himself and another healer. You could possibly give him armor with some of his other cards and then go ahead and put a repair heal on the board. So that's very interesting. Let's see. The Death team has where's their weapons training card? I know they have this one here with we looked at it last time with Magic, and so with their weapons training card of Magic here, you could bookend those 2 around a monster, and would it get 3 magic damage from both? And be a 6 damage, like a Riftwing with 6 magic damage? Be an interesting card. I'm not even positive on that. These are things that I have to double check and look into and almost ask on the Mav server. It does give them access to these 2 additional 0 cost monsters that they could throw next to either Darg or and give them some magic attack normally. So it's definitely interesting. It does also create kind of like a very interesting kind of melee back row team. You already had Deep Lurker, Pelacor Bandit, and Kulu Swim Hunter. Now you add in the Silent Shavi along with the like maybe the Ravenwood Warden to give them additional attack, and then you have the new one here, the Jailer, a new sneaking archer right here, and then I thought there was another card with sneak. He might have been an untamed card. I might be mixing that card up, but you know, adding I do think adding Silent Chevi there should be the 2 cost. I always just overlook him. No, he was untamed. He was untamed too. So yeah, they are losing some of their sneak and opportunity monsters. So that lineup isn't as good. Lyra's an extra swiftness for the team, so that's an interesting one. Revealer gives them another option for Reflection Shield. They pull some taunts, right? You have the 2 taunting and a Fury. Wow, Fury with 5 magic. Oh, I can't wait to go dig into that guy. All right, guys. I think we're going to end it there. I mean, we kind of went over this. I know it's not the best recap ever when it comes to the dual team stuff, but until we really can build some of these dual teams, I mean, the main things that stand out to me are just added functionality into whatever the teams do best, and possibly giving one key thing to the team that they didn't have before. Death didn't have healers. Blue does. Death had cards with lots more status effects than Blue, so maybe you can get yourself a Silence, maybe you can get yourself a Demoralize, maybe you can get yourself an Affliction, or you can play some of these interesting low cost cards that have pretty good attack now on the Blue team. I mean, Soul Strangler is a pretty good archer for 3. Bonesmith and Life Sapper are interesting little tiny mages. These would all now be able to throw out there. I do think the Ravenhood Warden is an interesting card because it gives them a protect, and it gives them that inspire for those cards like Deep Lurker and Pelacor and some of the other ones that you might be running in that kind of interesting sneak lineup. All right, guys, thanks. Hopefully you enjoyed. Bye.